What's up, movie crew? Welcome to another episode of Let's Rank. Now, recently, if you saw my new release video and my unboxing / look at video, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, of the Suicide Squad, I thought about it and I think it's time for another Let's Rank video. So, without further ado, there are 11 movies in the DCEU. So we are going to rank these movies from my least favorite to my favorite. Now, I want to let everyone know now, my number one is definitely not everyone else's number one. And my ranking is going to be a lot different than everyone else's. But without further ado, let's do this. At number 11, we've got Justice League. This should come as no surprise to anyone that has watched any of the DCEU movies. I wish I could say it's the worst DC movie ever made, but even then I can't. The problems with this movie, let's just get to the basics. Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon do not have similar styles. So you've got this style, you've got this aesthetic that's been going on with all the movies, and then Joss Whedon comes in and completely changes it. Then you've got Henry Cavill's mustache, which for some reason they had to CG remove it. There's the stupid one-liners. And the problem that really made this movie even that much worse for me was when we finally got the Snyder Cut, the things that I did not hate about this movie were done so much better in the Snyder Cut, to the point where what little bit of hope I had for this movie just went down. Overall, definitely the worst movie in the DCEU. I will never rewatch it again unless I am forced to. Alright, so 10 and 9 for me are both fairly low. The thing is, number 10 is the 2016 Suicide Squad. And the reason that this one is lower than number 9, or the movie that I picked for number 9, is because if I had to pick between this and what I've got at number 9, if I were told I had to watch one of these from beginning to end, I would pick Suicide Squad. Because there's stuff about this movie I genuinely enjoy. The problem is that at the end of the day, when it goes to being a movie, something with a plot and something that's driving the characters, something that's motivating the characters, 9 has that one, this one doesn't. Believe me, I want to like this movie more than I do. But as time progresses with each rewatch I've had of it, it just becomes worse and worse for me. I hope we get the Ayer cut, because something tells me that somewhere in this, David Ayer does have a really good movie. At number 9, we got Birds of Prey. I wanted to like this movie. Margot Robbie did her thing as Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I love seeing her in movies. There's so many things I've watched before with her in them. I have checked out some really weird stuff before just because she's in it. She did some CBS show a few years ago. I watched it just because she was in it. She is that good of an actress. And unfortunately, she's phoning it in. The Black Mask we get in this, I don't know what they were thinking when they made this character for the movie. This is not how Black Mask is in the comics. Also, why was it such a problem for Ewan McGregor to wear the damn mask? The other big issue I have with this movie is the number of times the movie had to remind me that it takes place in Gotham. If you have not seen this movie, you most likely know that Gotham's a dark place. No! In Birds of Prey, it's bright and sunny and everyone's cheerful. And unfortunately, before the world shut down last year, this was the last movie I saw in theaters for almost a year. Yeah. Number 8, we've got Wonder Woman 1984. All right, so the reason that this movie is lower than some of the other ones, I know there's a lot of people that like this movie. I am not one of those people. My issues with this movie are the same issues that I have with Spider-Man Homecoming for the MCU, and that is that there are some plot holes in here that are way too obvious. The biggest one being this movie takes place in the 80s. Well, if you watch Batman v Superman, you'll watch Wonder Woman, you'll watch Justice League, whichever version you want to watch, then you know that after the events of the first Wonder Woman movie, she's not seen again until Batman v Superman. How is she in this? How did this take place and no one knows it? Something about it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it definitely took away from me trying to watch the movie. Also, they could have done a lot better with Cheetah. Number 7, we've got Aquaman. Alright, now, I do want to say, I like Aquaman. This was a good movie. I very much enjoyed it. But given some of the movies I've got in the top 5, this one ended up going a little bit lower on the list. Jason Momoa was great as Aquaman. Patrick Wilson was great as Ocean Master. We had a solid Black Manta. Nicole Kidman playing Aquaman's mom. We had The Trench in there. Not to mention it was directed by James Gunn, and if you've seen some of the other videos, you know I love his movies. The problem is between this one and what I have as number 6, this movie had a lot of action. But what I put for number 6 has a better story. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the story in Aquaman, but when this first came out, we were told that this was supposed to be the movie to follow Zack Snyder's Justice League, not Joss Whedon's. Either way, there are some issues between what happens in Justice League leading to what happens in Aquaman. If you watch the Joss Whedon version, how he's underwater, what leads to him becoming King of Atlantis, completely different from what we got in Aquaman. If you watch the Snyder Cut, Amber Heard for some reason has a British accent. She didn't have one in Justice League. She didn't have one in this movie. It didn't make sense to me. But it's still a good movie. Number 6, we've got Man of Steel, the movie that kickstarted the DCEU. I'm going to be honest with everyone. I do like this movie, but for me, this and Aquaman are really, really close in the ranking. Like, I almost put this at number 7 and Aquaman at number 6. So the things that I definitely like about the movie, really good origin story, a decent modern retelling of the origin story of Superman. I feel like Superman's story had to change some as time changes. And I feel like this movie did a good job of that. And seeing Jonathan Kent trying to make sure that Clark doesn't reveal his powers and being protective of his son, I thought that was a good story. And I think we had a good first villain for Superman in Zod. Because you've pretty much got both sides of the same coin. The issues I have with this are some of the action scenes felt a little too CG heavy. And there were a couple of times where I noticed myself relating to Zod a little bit more than Superman. And I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to side with the villain. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't siding with him wanting to terraform the planet into a new Krypton. But some of his views and some of the things he was saying, I understood why he was upset. But overall, it's still a good movie. I enjoyed it. I saw it in theaters, I believe, 3 times, if that tells you anything. Number 5, we've got Wonder Woman. Alright, I know this one's going to cause a little bit of controversy because I know a lot of people that would put Wonder Woman as their favorite DCEU movie. Now let me just say, Gal Gadot is an amazing Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins has done a great job directing this movie. And despite my complaints with Wonder Woman 84, Patty Jenkins still told a very cohesive story in Wonder Woman 84. But the reasons that this one's at number 5, the third act I felt like could have been done a little better. Simple as that. Everything leading up to the third act was really good. Wonder Woman being in the land of the men. Her being willing to fight in a war that she did not know anything about to protect those that she had just befriended, I thought was a really good piece to the story. And even the beginning and end when they show her in more modern times and her thinking about what happened, and when she gets the picture back of Steve Trevor and her sending a thank you email to Bruce because she's in the UK at the time, I thought was touching. And the biggest thing I gotta say congrats on for this movie, if you see the Batman shirt, I'm a DC person. I've always preferred DC to Marvel, but even I can admit movies are not DC's forte, and Wonder Woman was the first time that I can think of in a while where we got a good superhero movie from DC that was not Batman or Superman. But once I get into the top 4, you will understand why this one's my number 5. Alright, number 4. I've got the Snyder Cut. Again, just like with Wonder Woman, I know that a lot of people would probably put this as their number 1. And I do want to point out that Snyder Cut is really good. The fact that we even got the Snyder Cut is incredible. I did not think this was going to happen. So for us to get it is great. However, the reason that this is not my favorite movie, for starters, it is 4 hours and 5 minutes long. That is a lot of time to invest in one movie. The other thing is, given the amount of money that Warner Brothers gave Zack Snyder to finish some stuff up, and I know he even did some reshoots and shot a couple of additional scenes, He knew going into this that this is it. And we're left with cliffhanger endings. We are left with way too many what ifs for me to make this my favorite. It's a good movie. I am very thankful that we've gotten a completed version of Justice League. It was great seeing the characters interact. It was cool seeing Superman return in the black suit. I completely get why Ray Fisher was pissed at Joss Whedon after seeing the Snyder Cut. His story was pretty much taken out altogether. But at the end of the day, my top 3 are in my top 3 for a reason. Alright, so we have made it to the top 3 of my personal ranking of the DCEU. Number 3, I've got Shazam. Now, I know that I personally have Shazam ranked higher than a lot of other people do. But let me tell you why I have Shazam ranked as high as I do. Now, one of the things that I've always enjoyed about some of my favorite characters, like Batman, for example, is that he's a darker character. His motives, his reasons, where he lives, product of environment, everything explains why he's a dark character. Shazam is not that. And the biggest thing that I think people seem to forget with Shazam is how would a kid react if he got superpowers and he was an adult while he's a superhero? And that's one of the biggest things that always stuck with me with Shazam. Because now you've got a kid in an adult's body, and of course he's going to do stupid stuff. Of course he's going to be acting silly. But also, him having the mind of a child is one of the things that always gives him the edge, because he's not thinking like, he's not being as tactical as, say, Batman would. Not even as tactical as Superman. But I feel that the character Shazam was fleshed out perfectly with what they were given. I do have mixed feelings about Dr. Sivana becoming like a Shazam-esque character. I felt like that was kind of unnecessary. I think they could have definitely saved that for when we eventually get the showdown between Shazam and Black Adam with The Rock. But it is what it is. My overall complaints with this movie are very minimal. The biggest one is when you see Billy Batson, you got Asher Angel playing, I don't want to say an emo character, but he's sort of on the emo side. He's not necessarily being silly and goofy. But then you got Zachary Levi playing Shazam, who is being silly and goofy. And I'm not sure if Asher Angel was reading like New 52 stuff for his inspiration, which is kind of how Billy Batson is in the New 52. Whereas Zachary Levi, I think, may have read like some of the older stuff where Shazam's acting exactly like he does in the comics. But overall, this was a good movie. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was cool seeing David Sandberg, who prior to this did Annabelle Creation and Lights Out, do a superhero movie. I was very happy with it. I've watched it multiple times. I love this movie. Number 2. I am giving the silver medal to The Suicide Squad. Now, I do want to say, before anyone says that, oh, I probably only watched it once, so I already thought it was the best movie ever or something like that. No. I have HBO Max. I watched it multiple times during the 30-day time window, and I saw it twice in theaters. That's right, I had the option to watch this movie at home for free, and I paid to see it in theaters, not once, but twice. Now, as far as like complaints go, I don't really want to say it's a complaint, but I do like the more, as far as live action iterations of King Shark go, we were given more of a badass version in The Flash, whereas Suicide Squad, no offense to Sylvester Stallone or James Gunn, but we got one who's a little bit moronic and has the whole dad bod thing going on. Other than that, this movie had a really good cast. You think you're getting one group of people, and then they completely just pull a 180 on you. And this is just in the first few minutes of the movie. They did have a couple of connections to the first movie by bringing back Margot Robbie playing Harley Quinn, Viola Davis playing Amanda Waller, Joel Kinnaman playing Rick Flag, and Courtney playing Captain Boomerang. Each character had time to shine and do their thing as far as the main Suicide Squad goes that you see in the movie. We got a good little origin story on Bloodsport and why he does what he does. We got enough for Peacemaker to make you excited that he's getting his own TV show. You get more stories with Harley Quinn, who has been one of the best characters in the DCEU since all of this started. You've got Ratcatcher, you've got Polka Dot Man, you've got the Thinker, you've got King Shark. All of these characters who are making their debut appearances in this movie, and they're all given their time to shine in an ensemble movie. Normally, stuff like this, you get a couple of scenes here and there, and that's it. No, in this movie, you've got everyone's stories right from the get-go. And by the end of it, when some of these characters die, you're upset that they're dead. And also, shout out to James Gunn for giving us Starro. If you've watched the cartoons like I've done back in the day, then you know that Starro is someone that while we don't see him that much, they usually make him a pretty big threat. So for James Gunn to use him as a villain in this movie was pretty freaking awesome. And also, got to give a huge shout out to whoever it was that managed to let this be rated R, because this was a movie that definitely needed the R rating and used it perfectly. All right, we are now down to the number one, the gold medal for me personally, for the DCEU. And I'm going to give one hell of a hot take here, because I know that there are people that watch these movies that would probably put this one below Justice League. I am not one of those people. I love this movie. I have watched it multiple times, and that's considering that the version that we're supposed to be watching is 3 hours long. For me, my number one is Batman v Superman. Now some of you are probably wondering why. Alright, on the Superman side of things, this is a good sequel to Man of Steel. You got Superman now being public, who's dealing with people that both love him and hate him. You've got him dealing with trying to balance life of being both Superman and Clark Kent. You've got him trying to have his love life with Lois Lane. You've got Superman on the side of Superman. You've got him dealing with the repercussions of killing Zod in Man of Steel. Then you've got Batman. All right, let me start off by saying that the inspiration for this particular version of Batman is Dark Knight Returns. Sort of, to an extent. So this is an older Batman who has probably been in one too many fights, who's probably been in the war a little too long, but at the end of the day, he still does what he does. We definitely got a darker Batman here. In case you're wondering, Batman does kill in this one. Yes, he has carried a gun in this one. But given the version of Batman we're given, it makes sense. And Ben Affleck did a really good job playing Batman, and it sucks that the Flash movie is most likely his final portrayal as Batman. Like, it kind of hurts. Like, as much as I do think Robert Pattinson's going to do a good job, but Ben Affleck did his thing, and I really have a lot of what-ifs on this, because I know at one point we were supposed to get a Ben Affleck-directed Batman movie with Deathstroke as the villain. And the fact that we're not getting it is a little upsetting. We see the introduction of Wonder Woman to the DCEU. We see the introduction of Aquaman. We see the introduction of Flash. So we've got the overall picture of the Justice League. We've also got Lex Luthor doing some stuff behind the scenes. Now, I will say I did not like Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor. This is the biggest complaint I can give. I did not like that. But overall, it tells a good story. If you watch the Ultimate Cut, you know that there are people out there that are afraid of Batman. You've got people that are... You get to find out both sides of the story, like the people that love Superman, the people that hate Superman. You get to hear their sides of the story, and you get to understand why people are on each side. But for me personally, this right here is my favorite DCEU movie. With everything that Zack Snyder was forced to do with this movie, I feel that he did the best job possible with everything given. Is it a perfect movie? No, it is not. Do I enjoy it? Yes. Do I like the story? Yes. Everything about this movie I very much enjoy. But that's going to do it for this one. So next week, I'm going to do a little bit of a teaser video where I'm going to show off how much I truly enjoy Batman v Superman. And then you are also going to get my entire DCEU collection. But that's going to do it for this one. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. You like what you see? Leave a thumbs up. Comment down below, what is your favorite DCEU movie? How different is your rankings from mine? I do want to tell everyone now, I'm aware that not everyone's going to agree with me on this being number one, but if I consider any of the comments trolling, I'm going to delete them. You've been warned. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching, and tune in next time.